Hello folks, so finally we have passed the turbulence and we can welcome the end of the year. Now December is a pleasant month and it should usher in some exciting relationship news as well. Yeah, so let's speak about the month of December. So for one thing, we are now into the nodal axis transit in Virgo and Pisces, right? Even if you take the real node calculation, we are now into this axis. Now Venus had moved into its Mutrikon sign of Libra late November and is in a better position now. Yeah. So if you're watching this, for the 29th of November, Venus's upcoming transit is an excellent one. There is, however, one thing about that transit. There is a Papkartari Yoga happening with that Venus in Libra, because at that time Venus is hemmed between Ketu on one side and Mars and Sun on the other, which can put some pressure on Venus. So see what Venus signifies in your chart. Yeah. Generally, for everybody, it could be relationship pressure or something to do with money as well. Yeah. However, there is a Jupiter aspect directly on that Venus, guiding you to make the right decisions at this time. We still have the Sun and Mars conjunction in Scorpio. Both of these planets are compatible, but that's very, very intense energy. It's also still a combust Mars. So it can make it difficult to resolve disagreements. Like you may have a dispute about something or a disagreement about something, or you may get into confrontation. So that, be watchful there. There is a new moon cycle that is taking place in Scorpio on December the 12th with Mars close by. Similar to November. December 13th, Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius, and then it will go direct again in Scorpio on January the 2nd. So it will revert back to Scorpio. And then there's a full moon in Gemini on December 26th, aspected by a retrograde Mercury. Finally, on the last day of the month, December the 31st, New Year's Eve, Jupiter goes direct in Aries, which is fantastic news. So overall, it is a much easier month than the past couple of months. Yeah. So let's take a look at the impact on each sign now. Yeah, we start with Aries. Aries is a month things will start to get back on track. Positive forward momentum can be seen now in life. To begin with, for Aries, Lagna Lord continues its transit in your 8th house with the 5th Lord Sun. If you had some health issues, you can see some improvement. Because the healing energies are strong with this transit. Yeah. It can also bring gains of some sort. Inheritance, maybe. You might hear something about that. Sudden investment returns are also possible for you now. If you're doing research, then you can see some breakthroughs with the Sun there, especially related to occult matters. Mars remains in Scorpio till December the 28th. 7th Lord moved into the 7th house in late November. Excellent transit for relationships and also very good for those who are self-employed or have their own business. You can see a boost in finances at this time. If you're coupled up, it's a good transit to be with your partner. If you're single, it's an excellent time to meet prospective partners. Venus remains here till Christmas Day when it joins Mars in Scorpio. On December 12th, there's a moon in your 8th house, putting the focus back on finances, investments, and close relationships. With Mars, you're putting a lot of energy in this area of your life now. Yeah. 5th Lord Sun moves into your 9th house on December the 16th, which is an excellent transit. It's good for making travel plans. It's also good for those who are studying, connecting with your father, or your guru or an advisor now is highly beneficial. You can get good advice at this time. Mercury is also close by, retrograde, so you could be going back to seek advice on an earlier issue that you were dealing with. We have a full moon in Gemini on December the 26th in your third house, aspected by Mercury. Good time again for travel, connecting with siblings, catching up with errands, with friends, etc. Best news of the month is Jupiter finally going direct in your first house on the last day of the month on December the 31st. Jupiter's direct aspect on Libra is very helpful also for relationships. Yeah. So it's an excellent month with two benefics spending so much time in your 1-7 axis. So it's actually a nice time to have some fun this month. Yeah. Taurus. Taurus, we start the month with Lagna Lord Venus going into your 6th house. This can bring up some problems, but the solution would be there for you since this is Venus's Multragone house. Right? Venus stays here till Christmas Day. 7th and 4th Lord in the 7th house can mean some issues with your business can come up now. It's a strong transit for business matters, in fact, and you can be very productive in this area. Business or marriage partner may take up a lot of your attention now, so you may have to compromise there. Rahu now in your 11th is a boost for income matters, but it can cause some disagreement with partners. There is a new moon as well in your 7th house, ushering in new possibilities for business on December the 12th. If you're single at this time, you can meet someone now during this 2 or 3 days here and there at that new moon. Yeah. If you're married, your partner can be quite demanding in these days. Mars remains in that 7th house, which can always bring some like disagreement with partnerships, power struggles. Mars remains there in the 7th house and it's quite strong there in Scorpio till December the 28th. So it's a lasting transit. It can bring like very dominating, willful energy in partnerships. Sun moving into the 8th house with Mercury on December 16th can result in domestic issues cropping up. Lagna Lord is also weakened in the 6th house, so you can feel a little bit bogged down. So take time out where you can. Keep up with the good habits, including exercise at this time. Venus moving into your 7th house, joining Mars on Christmas Day, can bring some stress with the domestic partner. Situation improves on December 27th, which brings a full moon in Gemini. It's a good time to spend with family now, especially when retrograde Mercury moves back into Scorpio on December the 28th. Yeah, if you have kids, it's an excellent time to be with them. Month ends for you with the Parivartan between Mars and Jupiter in the Dusana houses. So this could bring some expenses, unexpected expenses at this time for you. Yeah. Gemini, what's happening for you? For you, the month starts with Mercury Lagna Lord in the 7th house, which is excellent for dealing with business matters and any kind of partnership matters. 5th Lord in 5th house is also good for business matters. If you're self-employed, you can see some progress. Yeah. On December 12th, there's a new moon cycle in your 6th house. Your routines can get a little bit disturbed at this time. If you had any health issues, you can find a solution at this time. It's also good for work prospects. You can be very busy at this time. Ketu in your 4th house, Virgo, will likely bring some changes in your living space. You may feel a little bit dissatisfied where you are, and you may wish to move, for example, at this time. Rahu in the 10th is probably shaking up the career in some way. You may be changing jobs at this time or looking for new ways of making an income. Jupiter going direct month end will help in this regard. A new opportunity could come along at that time. Saturn, 9th Lord in 9th house, is favorable transit for you, especially when it comes to travel. You may see opportunities come up here. That would be very beneficial for you. Yeah. Lagna Lord going retrograde in 7th house on December 13th can have you thinking about your business. It can also have you returning to an old partner, or like reuniting with an ex from the past. Like all of a sudden, you hear from an ex at this time, or going back into a relationship that you had perhaps started, but nothing had come of it. So this is the time that you might return to someone that you knew from before. Sun moves into your 7th house on December 16th, putting spotlight on relationships again. Venus moving into the 6th house on Christmas Day can stir up some relationship problem at this time. Yeah, so be aware of that, especially being that we're talking about Scorpio. A full moon in Gemini on December 27th puts further focus on relationships, which is actually the primary theme for you this month, relationships. December 29th brings 2 fiery planets in your 7th house. So relationships can see some difficult culmination, some struggle at this time. Month ends with Jupiter going direct in your 11th house, which is excellent for all-round prosperity, and will also aspect that fiery combination in the 7th house. So it can bring some solutions where you perhaps felt stuck with another person. This month will, of course, have you very much contemplating relationships and understanding what you want from others and coming to some conclusions about that. This is actually a good time to do that. Mercury going direct on January 2nd will shed some light and will bring some clarity. Cancer, what's happening for you? For you, you start the month with a very dignified Venus in the 4th house. Spending time at home will prove to bring peace at this time, so you can enjoy good meals, all the creature comforts that come with that. It's a big relief from all that fire energy that was in the 4th house the past few months for you. So there will be a more calming environment in your home situation. 7th Lord continues to move through the 8th house and could have brought readjustments with finances at this time. Though it would be difficult for relationships. Lots of ups and downs could have been there. This is also Ashtama Shani transit, and it can bring some problems in relationships, especially if you're a Cancer moon. With Saturn going direct, you can see a new way forward with your finances at this time, which is excellent. Yogarika Mars in the 5th house is an excellent transit for those that have their own business. If you wanted to start your own thing, now is the time to seriously look into it. Especially since there is also a new moon here on December the 12th, giving you the drive and energy to execute plans. It's a good time for any changes if you're self-employed. Sun moves into your 6th house on December 16th, bringing a focus on daily activities and routines. There's a full moon in your 12th house on December the 26th in Gemini. Lagna Lord here means it's a good time to retreat, especially being that it's the holiday season, right? Month ends with 9th Lord Jupiter going direct in your 10th house. Excellent transit for you. Jupiter here in your 10th house is making a rebirth with Mars, bringing good tides, especially where business and career life is concerned for you. Month end will have you in good spirits. Yeah. Leo, what's happening for you? Well, for you, the month starts with Venus, 10th Lord, in the 3rd house, aspected by Jupiter. Excellent transit, especially for work, especially for how you're perceived by others. It's an excellent transit. You can see some improvement in your image at this time also. You'll be getting along with others and generally be in good spirits at this time, just in time for the holiday season. Lagna Lord moves into the 5th house on December 16th, adding to the festive mood at this time. On December 12th, there's a new moon in your 4th house. With Mars there, you can feel a little bit restless at this time. With Mercury in the 5th at this time, it should balance some of that, like irritable feelings that can come up with Mars in the 4th house. It can sort of have an agitating effect. You have Venus moving into the 4th house on Christmas Eve, which is excellent. And you'll feel a lot more relaxed at this time. On December 26th, there is a full moon happening in your 11th house, which receives an aspect of retrograde Mercury. You can be speaking about past issues now. It would be a time to reflect and go back and fix some old problems. When Mars Yogarka moves into the 5th house with Mercury close by, watch the speech at this time. You could feel a little bit anxious about something. Yeah, at this time. There is, of course, at this time, a beautiful Paribhartan Yoga happening. Right? You have Jupiter and Mars. Both of them are favorable planets for you. And both of them are placed in Dharma Trikona houses for you at this time. So it's an excellent Paribhartan Yoga happening for you. Especially when it comes to new beginnings. Creating something from scratch. I mean, this is the time that you could be doing that. And it will bring rewards for years to come. Because this trend continues into the new year. When we start the new year. Mercury retreats to your 4th house the next day, placing an emphasis back on home life. 2 benefics in the 4th house make it a good time to enjoy the festivities as well. On the 31st, Jupiter, 5th Lord, is direct, and this is the best news for the fire signs, especially Leo, with this 5th aspect on your Lagna, which is a big blessing. Big ball placements of Venus and Saturn in Kendra houses, and Jupiter and Mars in trine is an excellent way to end the year and start 2024. All planetary positions are favoring you starting in the new year in 2024. Yeah. Virgo. What's happening for you? For you, you start the month with Ketu in your 1st house. A new 18-month cycle has begun for you, and it will bring many changes in your relationships, in your image, your appearance. Your priorities will shift at this time, which often happens when the nodes when they transit the 1-7 axis. It's usually a new beginning of sorts. It could have you feeling a little bit out of sorts at this time. A feeling of disconnecting with the world can be there as well. You have Mercury, Lagna Lord, in your 4th house. So this can contribute to feeling introverted at this time. You may prefer to just spend time alone. Saturn the 6th can bring up a change in your daily routines. If you're experiencing health issues, now you can seek solutions. You'll find the right answers. Finances can undergo some change. Recovering a loss or managing your finances. That can be the theme at this time, especially if it's connected with your partner. There is a new moon happening in your 3rd house with Mars there. It can bring some aggravated issues to the surface. You may not be getting along with those in your close environment. 9th Lord in the 2nd house is an excellent placement and can give you some relief at this time. Enjoying time with family, eating well, will manage some of the stress that you may have been feeling at this time. It's a good time to take initiatives in your life, right? Saturn in the 6th is excellent for career matters. If there were disputes, they will go in your favor at this time. Lagna Lord Mercury goes retrograde on the 13th till January the 2nd. It's a good time for a holiday. 9th Lord moving into the 3rd house on December 24th also indicates some travel may come up. You have a full moon in your 10th house on December 26th in Gemini, and this again puts the focus on home life for now. Mars moving into your 4th house on December the 27th, you may be feeling agitated, you may be feeling a little bit restless also. You may also be thinking about taking a new life path at this time. Lagna Lord moves back into the 3rd house with Venus putting you back in good spirits. Lagna Lord moves back into the 3rd house with Venus, putting you in good spirits. Month ends with Jupiter moving direct in your 8th house. 7th Lord in the 8th house can mean the emotional connection with a partner can improve at this time. So, what's happening for Libra? For you, the month starts with Venus, Lagna Lord, in the 1st house and Jupiter in the 7th house. It's a great way to end the year after so much difficult energy in that 1-7 angle all year. Relationships would have undergone some shifts. right? People would have exited from your life, new people may have entered. But now you can feel much more relaxed. Situation has also improved in terms of attracting better partners, and others will also be seeing you in a more favorable light, with Rahu having moved on from your 7th house and Jupiter there alone. Saturn moving direct and aspecting that 7th house, you can still feel some pressure, especially from partners, to make a commitment at this time. There's a new moon in Scorpio on December the 12th, and that can bring some disagreements with family members. You may also be sorting out your financial matters at this time. Venus Lagna Lord moves into Scorpio on December 24th, a good transit for Venus. It can put focus back on family, food, enjoying the festive season just in time. There's a full moon in your 9th house on December 26th, which may put focus on travel. And some of you may be reading or studying an interesting subject at this time, also with so much 9th house energy. 7th Lord moves into the 3rd house on December the 27th. Great transit for those who have their own business. You can see some positive developments in this area of life, and same goes for those that are self-employed. The end of the month brings Jupiter direct in your 7th house. It's an excellent transit, and you can see some momentum in relationships. You will see some progress here at this time. Yeah. Scorpio, what's happening for you? For you, you have Sun and Lagna Lord Mars remaining in your 5th house, which can make you a very formidable force. You'll feel very energetic. You'll feel ready to take action at this time. Relationships will be under scrutiny. And you may be ending some connections, which can happen actually quite quickly at this time. This can lead to making some mistakes now, so be watchful here. Also be watchful for aimless conflicts. Sun moves out and goes into your 2nd house on December the 16th. 7th Lord Venus moves through your 12th house. You could attract a partner from abroad. People from the past could make a reappearance now in your life. Difficult transit of Saturn continues for now, especially for home life, which may not feel satisfactory with the Saturn in the 4th transit. Especially if you're a Scorpio moon, it can feel actually a little bit draining. You may be feeling pressurized to make big life career decisions at this time. On December 12th, there is a new moon in your house, which can be a very busy time for you. If you wanted to reinvent your image or look for a new job, now is the time to do that. Rahu is now firmly situated in your 5th house, and it's aspecting your Lagna. This Rahu transit will bring some very magnetic attractions. It's a time when you can gain from friends and connections as well. Christmas Eve, Venus moves into your 1st house. Good time for those that are in relationships. The month end on December 26th, you have a full moon taking place in your 8th house. It can bring some surprises in relationship matters. With 8th Lord moving to the 1st house, there can be some obstacles also in relationships at this time, which can have you feeling quite emotional. You can be feeling quite emotional at this time. Lagna Lord moves into the 2nd house on December the 28th, and you may have travel on your mind. Sagittarius, for you, the month starts with Lagna Lord Jupiter retrograde in the 5th house, aspecting the Lagna. You have Mercury, 10th Lord, in the 1st house, making you very visible at this time. And you would want to go out more and be seen by others also at this time. You could be considering a new partnership, or you could see new clients coming into your business if you work for yourself. There's a new moon in your 12th house on December the 12th that can bring up some long distance travel. It can also be that you're receiving guests from abroad. It's a time that you could be spending a lot of money also. Sun for you moves into your 1st house on December the 16th, which is an excellent transit. It's a fantastic time to surmise your upcoming year, to think about your goals, to write them down. You'll be thinking clearly at this time, and you'll be able to plan successfully also at this time. Money looks good, and connecting with friends is also supported with that Venus transiting your 11th house. There is a full moon in your 7th house on December 26th, putting focus on partners and businesses, business interests, if you have any. December 27th, Mars moves into your 1st house with 5th and Lagna Lord in a supportive Paribardhan. It's an excellent time to do what you love. Spend time with children at this time, if you have any, your hobbies. If you wanted to create something new, especially in business, especially for yourself. It's a fantastic transit, and it will last until February the 5th. Capricorn, what's happening for you? For you, the month starts with Yogarika Venus in your 10th house, which can bring some positive shifts in career matters. It can have you feeling good generally and confident to make bold moves. Rahu's firmly placed in the 3rd house, which can increase communications with those in your immediate environment. It could lead to some disagreement, however, with your younger siblings, if you have any. There is a new moon happening in your 11th house on December the 12th with Mars there. So a residence move could feature, or you could be fixing something up in your house. There could be some disturbance, though, with your mother at this time. You could make new friends, and a chapter with an old friend can close for you at this time also. Your domestic situation could undergo some change now that, and it could be something that's been in the works for several months now, and it's just coming to a conclusion now. Month ends with Venus going to your 11th house, which will bring some relief on December the 24th. It's an excellent transit. It's excellent for your career. You'll be seen in a positive light. It's excellent for socializing, connecting with friends at this time. A full moon in your 6th house on December 27th can have you feeling a little bit agitated with Mars moving in your 12th house also at the same time. However, Jupiter moves directly in your 4th house at month's end, bringing some positive news on the career front. Aquarius, what's happening for you? For you, you are hosting Yogarika Venus in your 9th house, which is a beautiful transit. It's especially good if you wanted to travel. It's also a good time to connect with your father, advisors, guides, mentors. Immigration matters can deliver positive outcomes if you were waiting for that. Lagna Lord continues to move in your 1st house, making you feel pressured to make some big life decisions. If you're in Sadhe Sathe, you can feel quite a lot of pressure in this regard. If you are an Aquarius moon, it can bring some disinterest with life activities also. It tends to do that. There's a new moon on December 12th in your 10th house with Mars and Sun there. It's a great time to put your energy into your goals, into your career. Sun and Mercury transit your 11th house from December 16th. It's an excellent time to connect with friends and your network circles. And then Venus moves into Scorpio in your 10th house on December the 24th, putting the focus back on career. There's a full moon in your 5th house on December 27th, which is a good time to relax, especially if you have children. Rahu firmly placed in the 2nd house can bring some disagreements with family members. Some unexpected events can also take place, especially related to your in-laws. That could manifest at this time too. No? Pisces, what's happening for you? Pisces, the best news of the month is Jupiter Lagna Lord going direct in the 2nd house on December the 31st, especially since Rahu has also moved away. This can make you feel a lot more supported. You have Rahu now firmly placed in your 1st house where the transformations will take place, and there will be quite a few transformations, especially during the first 2 weeks of December. You can get some hint of what's to come. Month starts with Venus in your 8th house, which could bring some sudden surprises in your relationship life. People from the past can re-enter your life at this time. This can also mean extramarital affairs for some people. There's a new moon in your 9th house on December 12th, which can bring some travel now. Beware of any flight complications, though, at this time. You can hear some positive news with immigration matters if you were waiting for that. Sun moves into your 10th house on December the 16th, which is an excellent transit for money and career matters. Venus moves into your 9th house on Christmas Eve, which is an excellent transit for connecting with family and friends, especially from abroad. It's good for travel as well. You have a full moon happening in your 4th house on December 27th. Great time to relax with family and your partner. And Mars movement into your 10th house on the 28th is also excellent for increasing your drive and your ambition. Overall, it's an excellent month for you, Pisces. Enjoy. That's all for now, folks. Cheers.